This is how to play made-up movies. The object of the game is to pitch the most ridiculous movie reboot, win over all the executives, and get the biggest budget by making up everything as you go. The setup is easy. Make sure all decks are shuffled and separated. Next, make sure each player has 3 executive cards. The player can look at them now, but should not show anyone else their cards. Finally, distribute budget cards to each player. Their values are 1 through 5 million. Deal 1 of each to all players. They should have 1 less than the total number of players playing. For example, if you're playing with 4 players, you'll have 3 budget cards, 1 through 3 million. Gameplay. Each player takes turns playing as the pitcher or the studio executive. The players pitching must use the universal pitch template to begin to lay out the pitch cards in the order seen here. Once all cards are laid out, flip the 1-minute sand timer and begin flipping each card one at a time while plugging them into the sentence as you read it aloud. After all cards are flipped, the player must come up with the title before the timer runs out. If time runs out and the pitcher hasn't come up with a title, they must blurt out the first thing that pops into their head. Once the pitch is complete, each studio executive will ask 1 question from their hand by reading their studio executive prompt card verbatim. After they ask each question, they'll flip the sand time. The player pitching has up to 1 minute to answer each executive's question. If time runs out, the executive cuts the pitcher off and moves to the next question. When the player pitching is done answering all the executive questions, they will stack their pitch cards and place them next to their budget cards. Once each player is pitched, the group will review everyone's pitch stacks and place them in front of them. Each player will anonymously vote for their favorite and least favorite reboot. Give the higher amounts to your favorite reboots, and remember, you can't vote for your own. Finally, each player adds up their budget cards they received, and the player with the most money wins. If there's a tie, both players pull up a new set of pitch cards. Each of them have 1 minute to flip over the cards and come up with a title, then an additional minute to answer the universal tiebreaker prompt, tell me the general plot of this movie. The executives will use their 5, 3, and 1 million budget cards to rate each person's answer. The player with the most money wins. How studio executive cards work. There are 6 types of studio executive card. Tell me, elaborate, swap out, favor, marketing, and action. Tell me. These cards ask the player pitching to tell more about their movie reboot or ask for more information. Elaborate. These cards ask for the player pitching to elaborate on specific aspects of their pitch. Swap out. For these cards, the studio executive must replace an existing card in the reboot pitch with a replacement from the stack indicated in the subheading beneath the heading of that card. Favor. With these cards, the studio executives will prompt the player pitching for personal favors relating to their movie reboot pitch. Marketing. These cards will provide the player pitching with questions and/or prompts related to how they will market their movie reboot. Action. These cards prompt the player pitching to perform some sort of action or act out something from their movie reboot pitch. Buzzer cards. Some studio executive cards will say buzzer in the subhead. The buzzer works in the following way. After the player pitching answers the prompt on the card, the executive may buzz their answer by saying the word buzz aloud. The player pitching must come up with a new answer after each buzz until the executive is satisfied or time runs out. Thanks for watching, and if you want a copy of Made Up Movies to play with your friends, visit our website below in the description.